Let me recognize the gentleman from New York, Mr. Suozzi, to inquire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for taking the time to be here today. We appreciate it very much. I'm going to ask you just some very straightforward yes and no questions to try and just establish a clear record on certain things. So, Mr. Secretary, you're the former president of Eli Lilly USA, is that correct?
Yes, that's pretty clear.
Mr. Secretary, is it true that Americans pay as much as 4 times as much for prescription drugs as people in other countries pay for the exact same drugs?
The numbers that we have in Medicare Part B would demonstrate about 1.8 to 2 times what European and OECD
But in some instances, it could be
countries.
in some instances, much higher.
It could depend on the drug, but absolutely, and that's why the President has made getting drug prices down such a critical priority.
Thank you, sir. Are you aware that in January of 2016, candidate Trump said that Medicare could save hundreds of billions of dollars by negotiating drug prices with big pharma companies?
Yes, I am aware.
Are you aware that the president in January of 2017 said of Big Pharma, quote, "These guys are getting away with murder"?
Yes, I am aware he said that.
Are you aware that in December, the House of Representatives passed H.R. 3, the Bipartisan Drug Costs Now Act, which would empower you as the Secretary to negotiate lower drug prices on behalf of the American people?
I heard of that, yes.
Are you aware that the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, estimates that just the negotiation aspect of H.R. 3 would save the federal government almost $500 billion over the next decade?
It would also lead to dramatic reduction in new therapies for Alzheimer's, cancer, and
I understand that's your position, but do you know that the CBO says it'll save $500 billion?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Has the Trump administration endorsed H.R. 3?
No, because we don't believe it can pass both chambers of Congress,
Okay, I understand.
and we also don't believe it's implementable.
You haven't endorsed it. Has the President endorsed any bill that allows the federal government to negotiate drug prices?
We have been supportive of the Grassley-Wyden package, which would have inflation
So have you endorsed that bill?
We are supportive of it, as we're supportive of other options also that would be bipartisan and bicameral.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Are you aware that when President Trump was running for president, he tweeted, quote, "I was the first and only potential GOP candidate to state that there will be no cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid"?
Yeah, I'm aware he said that.
Are you aware that recently, as this month, he said, quote, he tweeted, "We will not be touching your Social Security or Medicare in the fiscal 2021 budget"?
I don't remember that quote.
He did do that, just so you know. Mr. Chairman, I ask that we have unanimous consent to insert into the record a statement from the American Hospitals Association saying the following, quote, "This budget would result in hundreds of billions of dollars of cuts that sacrifice the health of seniors, the uninsured, and low-income individuals."
So ordered.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Secretary, is it true that the budget proposal by the administration proposes to reduce Medicaid spending by $844 billion over the next 10 years through the allowance or the President's health reform vision?
We reduced the rate of growth from 5.4% per year to 3.1% per year, with growth in every single year of the budget period for the Medicaid program, even with those changes.
Is it true that the administration proposes to cut Medicare through reduced payments to hospitals for uncompensated care by $88 billion over the next 10 years?
We reduced the rate of growth of Medicare from 7.3% per year to 6.5% per year and extended the life of the program by over 25 years.
Mr. Secretary, is it true that your budget proposes to cut Medicare spending through reduced payments to on-campus hospital outpatient departments by $117 billion over the next 10 years?
We propose to require site-neutral payments so hospitals can't game the system by where they locate providers and facilities.
And finally, Mr. Secretary, is it true that your budget proposes to cut Medicare spending through reduced payments for off-campus facilities that are hospital-owned physicians' office by $47 billion over the next 10 years?
Again, we do propose that we have site-neutral payments so that you don't game the system by where you locate a facility.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank the gentleman.